Oh, I miss it. Oh, sure I do. I had great feelings about it because I'm not a quitter, and Mom's not a quitter. She was never a quitter. She'd always stood behind me or whatever I wanted to do or whatever I was doing, even if it were uh, she thought it was wrong, she would still stay there and hang in there with me. We stayed there. We hung right in until the end.
Trees swaying in the summer breeze, showing off their silver leaves as we walked by. Soft kisses on a summer's day, laughing all our cares away, just you and I. Sweet, sleepy warmth of summer nights, gazing at the distant lights in the starry sky. They say that all good things must end someday.
How we got there in the first place, I had won a insurance selling contest with Metropolitan Life, and we got a free week at the Bitten Bridle Dude Ranch.
I've got a tiger by the tail, it's plain to see.
Mom and I went up and rode horses, got sore.
That's as wild a ride as I ever want.
And we ate well, and we loved it, and said, boy, wouldn't we like to do something like that? So we went up there for weekends, looked around the Lake George area, the Luzerne area, North Creek, where Gore Mountain was being built. Oh, I thought it was beautiful. I liked it a lot. It was the right place to be.
I'll think of summer days again and dream of
Something that we really wanted to do, and both of us wanted to do it. A friend of mine, Tom Hack, he said, God, I'd be interested in that. My father would back us. We were young without a lot of money, that's for sure. And so we went up and we looked more for property, and we found this dude ranch that had been run, and it was right near Gore Mountain, which would be great because we could have handled skiing and dude ranching in the summer. So we made a deal and bought it. When we bought this building, everything with it came with it. So when we got up there, it was kind of exciting, really, because the barn was closed up. We never looked in the barn.
dream of you.
So we opened up the barn, and in the barn was a Chevrolet Woody station wagon, a 1949 Buick sedan, four-door. They were old. They were just there. They were pretty valuable cars. A old 50s jukebox, player piano, just, unbelievable stuff. We started to work on it weekends, doing most of the work ourselves, putting in bathrooms and tiling floors and carpeting floors. We knew people down here that came up and helped us. When we first took possession of the building, after we did all the renovation, we had to supply rooms with beds and towels and sheets. We went down to Glens Falls to a supply house and bought all our pots and pans, all of the stuff we needed. Our liquor permit was approved, so then we went on to try to get guests. Put it all together finally.
Have I the right to hold you? You know I've always told you.
We made up a brochure. We had a friend of mine do the artwork on it.
Have I the right to kiss you? You know I'll always miss you. I've loved you from the very start.
started advertising in the New York papers and everything, and we filled up for New Year's weekend. So we were all ready to go. And our well went dry. We had a shutdown that weekend. We had a fellow that lived in town who had his backhoe. He came up and dug a ditch from the brook, which was at the bottom of the hill across the way, probably a good 300 yards away from us. And he dug a ditch up below the frost line all the way up to the house. And from the brook, we pulled water. Which I'm sure wasn't legal at the time, but we did it. And we got water coming in, and we were able to open up just for New Year's Eve dinner, which we had all the people that worked on the place to help us get it going. We had a lot of interest, a lot of weekend people. We had one weekend where we had 4 young girls came up and it snowed, and they got stranded down at the corner store, maybe a mile and a half down the road. They called and I said, I have no way to get you. And they said, well, we can't get up there. So Bill Lackey, who was the excavator, left his bulldozer there. I had worked for Jane Brothers for quite a while, and I knew how to operate a bulldozer. I started up the bulldozer, went all the way down the road, picked up the girls. They rode all over the seats and on the sides. They got in there. And drank me out of beer for the first week. We had every bottle gone. They had a great time, and everybody had a good time. And then we had a few other weekends that were good with skiing, but they didn't have snowmaking equipment at Gore Mountain at that time, and the weather, it wasn't in our favor to be successful. But we were thinking of being a dude ranch, and while we were sitting at the bar one day just talking about different things, a couple of fellas came in. They came in and sat down and were having a drink at our bar, and they said, God, what are you doing here? And this is really a nice place. And we said, oh, we're gonna have a dude ranch.
Come on, yippee!
Well, okay, I'll get the horses.
Bob Kirkpatrick and Wally Lockhart, they came in and just were going to have a drink, and they asked what we were up to. And I had told them that, well, we're going to have a ski lodge in the winter, but this winter is pretty tough. But we're going to have horses come spring. And they said, oh, you are? And I said, yeah. And he said, would you like some horses? And I said, why? He said, well, we got horses. And I said, well, how much are they? He said, we'll bring you up as many horses as you'd like. We'll help you build a fence across the way, and all you have to do is feed them. Well, I didn't know what the cost of feeding a horse was at the time. So anyway, he brought in about 10 or 12 horses, and we had them all corralled in the corral. And the first night they were there, Wally had stayed with us. It was a Sunday night, and the Monday morning I got a call from the local police department, and they said, this the Snow Pony Lodge? And I said, yes it is. And he says, do you have any horses? I said, we sure do. And he says, where are they? I said, oh, they're across the street in the corral and in the barn. He said, no, they're down center North Creek. And I said, huh? So I said, well, we'll come down and get them. So I quickly got a hold of Wally. I had a little blue Chevy 2 at the time. Jumped in the car with Wally and we drove down. Sure enough, we came around the corner of the post office and all the horses were out in the front of the bakery. So we laid on the horn, and the horses just turned around and ran through the center of North Creek, took a left on Route 28N, and came right up and right back into the barn again. This happened a couple of times after that also. When spring came, we knew we had to do something with the horses, so we advertised for a cowboy because all the other dude ranches in the area had a cowboy come from Montana or out west, and they came in and took care of the horses for us. They were looking for a place to go for the summer anyway. They usually rode in rodeos and things like that, so we had a school teacher from Montana apply for the job. We hired him. He came on board. So we started to do summer things. There were camps for children up, I think it was Newcomb. I went up and asked if the kids would like to ride. We had a cowboy. We could take them out, and we have very gentle horses. They said, yeah, we would like to ride once a day. So they were coming down every day, and our cowboy would take them out through the woods and then back, and then they would be brought back to their camps.
Hello, mother. Hello, father. Here I am at Camp Granada. Camp is very entertaining, and they say we'll have some fun if it stops raining. You remember Leonard Skinner? He got ptomaine poisoning last night after dinner.
I guess they were counselors from the camps, came down and said, look, we would like to go for a horseback ride, but we want spirited horses. We had a horse it was a painted pony that was really spirited. And so I said, sure, we'll let you take him. And our cowboy said, yeah, we'll let you go on him. We'll saddle him up. So we saddled up this pony and another horse. They went off, but we had just had a load of hay delivered and put it in the barn, and we put a plank across the barn door so that the horses couldn't get into it and get the fresh hay. So the two counselors went off on a ride. I went back in the office. The cowboy went back to his room, and all of a sudden we heard, whoa, whoa. He started yelling and screaming, so I ran out the front door and I saw the guy couldn't control the horse. The horse stopped in front of the barn with the plank, leaned back, threw the guy off the horse into the barn, and then broke right through the 2x10, went right in the barn after him. And I said, was he spirited enough for you? And he said, I don't want to ride anymore. He came up and sat on the porch with me.
Take me home. I hate Granada.
That was about the funniest part of any horse episodes with anybody. Other than that, the horses were gentle.
Oh, please don't make me stay. I've been here one whole day.
Old Red was one of the orneriest yet I'd seen at the big rodeo. He'd bite you and kick you and stomp out your life. Old Red had never been rode.
It was a fantastic rodeo. We enjoyed it because we had horses, and we brought any guests that were there down. Our cowboy was riding in it.
Breed and wasn't about to be tamed.
Went down and cheered for him. They had all the little things with a parade on horses with the flags at the beginning. Bronco rided, they had bucking horses where they lassoed the calves.
And Billy had never been throwed. The greatest desire filled a young Billy's heart to ride this old outlaw called Red.
They bucked him off. It was legitimate rodeo. It was legitimate. In fact, I talked to the cowboy, our cowboy, and he said they're exactly the same. That's some of the same stock they have out there in the West too. Very enjoyable. I thought it was a nice night out. Although I'm speaking in 2023, they still have them because I work with a man that bought property up in Luzerne, and he has gone to that same rodeo on Fridays. They still have it.
And 1 foot away, resting there neath the clay, is the outlaw that never was.